Hey, it's Mr. Peace. I wanted to share another story that I usually bring up during my middle or high school Compassion, One Life at a Time assembly. And it has to do with the quote that you see on the screen with these penguins. And it says, everyone deserves to be loved and loved, right? The one who appears to deserve love the least is probably the one who needs it the most. And the way that the story goes that I share behind this particular quote, because it's true, usually the ones that are hurting the most definitely need a lot more love, a lot more compassion. But it had to do with a seventh grader, and his name was John. And I remember I spoke at this middle school in Michigan, my home state, a few years back. And about 2 weeks later, I got an email from John. He said, "Hey, Mr. Peace, you might not remember me, but I was at your anti-bullying assembly at our middle school. And, I always share when I'm at these schools that, me coming doesn't mean that things are going to change, right? That's the hope, that's the intention, but that change has to come from within, right? It has to come from people that say that they don't want to see any more hatred or violence or whatever it is. People being mean, and they want to rise above that, make that choice to be all in." But he said, there was still a bully that even 2 weeks after I spoke, John was walking through the hall, and this bully tripped John, right? And he just said that he stood up, and this was in front of everybody. All the other students were in the hallway at the same time. And he stood up, he walked over to the bully, and he shook his hand and said, "Have a great day." Smiled at him as well. And as he's shaking his hand, the bully's mouth just kind of drops, and everybody watching in the hallways, their mouths drop, because they expected John to cry. They expected him to run away. They expected him to try to fight back, but he did the opposite. And probably the one thing that this person needed the most, right? And that was love. And a couple days later, he comes to find out that the bully was getting bullied himself. Actually had a dad who was abusive, fighting alcoholism, and was there for him to kind of support him through that, right? And what's so amazing is that, now they're best friends. And I've had that happen before with other students where the person that was bullying them, or they were bullying someone else, and big change of heart, and they start to finally see who this person is, right? Kind of put themselves in that person's shoes. And that takes a lot of character, that takes a lot of courage, and it really just takes a lot of discipline and really that self-will to be able to try to reverse, some of what's going on, not only in our schools, but all around us, right? And to still choose love, despite being hurt like that, despite continuously being put down, but still taking your power back, from that bully, right? And then regaining your power in the process, that's huge. And I think a huge life lesson that all of us can take from John and his story. Hope that touched your heart. Peace.